Good evening, guys and girls. Everybody, welcome to the, I can't think what it's called, Journey Through the EGA show. It is the 26th of February. It's Paul. I blame Paul. I blame Paul for that one. No, welcome everybody to the show. Hope everybody is well. You're just going to have to bear with me for just a moment while I just try to click onto something that I can't seem to do, and I don't know why, and I don't know what I can do about it, but I suppose I can't do anything about it, can I? Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody know? Does anyone know? Oh, because I'm on the wrong page, aren't I? Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. How is everybody? I'm going to start off with sorry we wasn't here last week, guys and girls. It was my eyes. I have to blame my eyes. So that is what was happening. So I just couldn't look at the screen. So I do apologize for everybody last week for that I couldn't get on. So I'll just say that. Mr. Paranormal Paul, how are we today?
I'm better now. You cheered me up straight away. No, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Not too bad.
Well, I generally think it's that. I think it's the gap, the 3-minute gap, so I can do me bits and get that sorted, get this sorted, and all of a sudden I'm sitting down. I've got 50 seconds to go, and I'm thinking, oh, it ain't too bad. Just do that and do this and do this and do that. Then look up. It's like, oh shit, 12 seconds. Quick, do something. So welcome everybody. Mr. Psychic Psy, how are you doing?
Yeah, all good. And I learnt something yesterday that's been puzzling me for probably about 4 years now. But I don't know what it was.
Do we talk about that now, or do we talk about?
No. It's just something simple that every year we go to Frinton quite a lot, and down on the beach you hear this big, like, boom, and it shudders, and it doesn't just do it once; it does it about 6 times when you're down there. And I think I've always thought, what the hell's that going off? And apparently, it is the sonic boom. They test the American planes down there, and it shakes. And now I know what it is, because I used to think it was like, you know, they sometimes do it down Shoeburyness where they fire out the guns and you hear it, but this ain't like that. It comes and you can just hear a little bit before it's going to go. And I wish I could video it, but every time I tried to get to it, I just couldn't get it. But it was brilliant. So now I know what it is. So you learn something every day, so they say.
You do learn something every day. We have the lovely Heidi in the chat. Good evening, Heidi Hansen.
Evening, Heidi.
We've got Joe in the chat.
Joe.
And we've got Jeff in the chat tonight. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Yeah, so Simon's learnt something new, and we've got to get Mr. Paranormal Paul out of a miserable mood. So we've got a lot to do tonight, guys, in a space of only an hour and a half. But so sit back and enjoy the ride, because it could be a bumpy ride with Mr. Paul. Mr. Paranormal Paul, because he's very aggressive at the moment. So if anyone wants to ring in as we're talking, guys, please, as you can see, I'm going to get Mr. Paranormal Paul to do his finger along the bottom for me. Because
what's that finger?
What is scrolling along the bottom? You can either put your name into the chat if you want to, guys, but if you feel brave enough and want to, if you've got any questions that you want to ask us, you can give us a call on 079 444 35529. That's 079 444 35529. Just remember, it is a live show, so if you are listening, it's tomorrow or the following day. I'm not going to answer the phone to you. It's as simple as it gets, because we're not live. So this only happens on live nights, guys. It will come straight through to me. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to, as we talk about tonight. We are going to start off with a look back at the first EGH event of the year at Gressenhall Farm Hall and Workhouse this weekend just gone. It was a cracker of an event. It was different. It was carnage at one stage as well. So we are going to sort of just have a quick brush along that, and then if we've got any time, we will just catch up on any paranormal news that is at the end of the show. So I'm going to start off with asking Simon a question. Good evening, Marianne, and good evening.
Hi, Mike.
Well, so any questions, please feel free to ask. We're going to start off with, I'm going to ask Simon, did you go to Gressenhall Hall with any sort of pre-feelings or precognitions or anything like that? Did anything come?
No, nothing at all. I worked a bit on Saturday, but that was an entirely different story that I got in the morning. Relaxed a bit in the afternoon. I got nothing. And when we drew up there and I just looked at the size of the place, I just went, oh, well. And yeah, so no, I didn't get really anything. I wasn't expecting anything.
Well, it is quite unfortunate because with Gressenhall Hall, your car park is sort of at the back of the location, and you don't actually get to really witness the grandeur and how just how big the location is. If you was to go there during the day and drive past the front of it, you do get to see the sense of just.
I haven't seen that at all. But once you walk through that gate, and yeah.
So it was. I say I was quite lucky enough to see it. That's my fourth time at that location, not to do a ghost hunt, but fourth time visiting the location. I went pre-COVID, I believe, to look at that when I took Nan and Grandad down there because I was on holiday down there to look at it, and obviously COVID stopped it.
Yeah,
and I went back again sometime. Then I went back again to look at it early last year. Oh, not early last year. Was it? When did we do Whiz Beach last year?
It was last year.
Yeah, so I went there as well. So I sort of knew the sort of place and how it sort of works. So I get what you get sort of when you first see it for the first time. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. And the walk round, they obviously give us the walk round when we got there. Wow. Unbelievable.
Marianne said, glad we had Mike to lead the way for us as we would have got lost.
It's meant.
But you only saw half of it. You only saw half that because I won't say it was quite disappointing, but you never got to see upstairs. Now, upstairs were, when I did the walk around the museum, you get to go upstairs and you can see upstairs. Now, that was the absolute kicker of it all, because what goes on upstairs I found even more sort of daunting than anything, especially in the there's a museum of children's toys.
Wow.
Up there. And when I did the site visit, it was like, whoa, this place is, you could get, and there was tapping on the glass, even in the daytime when we was there was tapping on the glass responses to questions that we was asking. I even felt there was, I don't know if it was there or I may be thinking of someone else, but maybe a coffin upstairs as well of something, but I don't quite know. So yeah, the location, you can understand why it was a workhouse. It is in the middle of nowhere. It is in a village of its own.
Yeah.
There isn't too much around it. You're driving at least 10 minutes either way from the location before you see any sort of shop or, petrol garage or anything like that. So it had its sort of, so it was in the middle of nowhere. So what happened in your sort of session? So I would just do a generalization of it. What was, go with session one.
Okay. Session one, we did the actual museum part of it, the downstairs part of it. And the first thing I hit was two beds together. You probably saw it, and there was like a blind behind it. And we picked up on a little child there he was calling himself Teddy. We later got his name was Edward Boyce, and he was put in the workhouse at a very, very early age and spent 15 years there, and it was a cruel environment. But he was doing something to the blinds. You could hear it. He was trying to answer us on the blinds. Click, 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 click. And somebody said, oh, it's a draft coming in the window. Well, it weren't till later, and we sort of walked away from it. And I wish we hadn't, because it weren't till later that there was nothing behind that blind. So,
Oh, it was just a blind on the wall.
Yeah. It was just the blind made to look like a window.
Ah.
So this spirit was tapping on it. We moved through to the ballroom, and the ballroom, I can't really explain it because it was going off all around us. The flow camera, it's the first time we've seen cold footsteps. And I don't know if they actually took a picture of them, because it was Sandra's friend. And she said, should the floor be blue with footsteps? And I went, no, it's going to be red with footsteps. But you could actually see on this camera little footsteps, blue. Have you ever seen it, Russ?
You have to be a little bit wary. You don't just take, with the FLIR camera, don't necessarily just take the colours into consideration. Use the pinpointer to pinpoint. So there's a little dot with an X in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Place that X onto the actual location you want to check out, and then look at the temperature in the top corner.
Right.
Because sometimes the colours don't represent.
If you ever just have a look at the FLIR camera when you next have a look, and have a look at the
I shall do that tomorrow night.
See there's footmarks. But not just that, we were getting tapping at that back door, and it was like, and it'll come back. And again, we blamed it. I was debunking it on being a draft outside, but it was a false door again. So it was a door. Behind that was a door. So we couldn't work that out. And in there, to be quite honest with you, when I first heard it, me and Jay said, oh, it's Ghost Hunter's belly. It was like a weird growling noise, like a groan. So we both gone Ghost Hunter's belly. And then it did it again. And it wasn't Ghost Hunter's belly. And then all the guests heard it. So it definitely wasn't Ghost Hunter's belly. And then we got whistling, and it whistled a tune. It whistled an absolute tune at us. So I'm saying, is anybody whistling? But it was only our group down there. So unless it had been one of the other groups, but it was like quite a long whistle. And I think Jackie got quite affected in the corner by somebody, because they were making decisions in that boardroom to who could come into that workhouse and who didn't come into that workhouse. So it was quite, I would imagine it was quite and I expect children were brought in front of them. You can imagine what it was like.
Yeah.
So our first session was very lively. And great, it was a great opener, because considering it was our first event.
Yeah.
Great opener.
Well, we was in the chapel area first time around, and in the shop and what was it, schoolroom.
Yeah.
And yeah, I say we had some really good stuff going on there, and I'd safely say it was very different, because if we had this gentleman, his name was Ralph something his name was, and he was a conductor. It's all he kept doing was he's saying, get the children to sing, get the children to sing. And I was like, I don't get what you're saying, sir, for a minute. Can I just get in? So we got all the like the REM pods and the EMFs and everything. And I said, all sit down on the benches, because it's a church bit, like a chapel. So it was set up like a church. So we all sat down, and I said, get the children to ask them to come and sit next to you. And all of a sudden, one by one, and it wasn't all at the same time, but we put the motion bell by the door, facing the door, away from everybody, and it went off. It went ding, and then all of a sudden, one of the K2s went off to the first person that was sitting next to the door on the first bench. So I said, are you here, children? And it went ding, and another K2 went off, ding, and another K2 went off. And he said, it was all the children were flooding in. And it's this Ralph kept telling me, he says, you've got to get the children in. You have to get the children in. Make them safe. Bring the children in. Now, if you notice that it was very slanted in the chapel.
Yeah.
So it's like a theatre, like what I would call a modern day theatre, where it went up at the back, but it was only on like a slant. And by the door, that's where all the young children were, toddlers, because we had the rope rem going off, and we had all the people holding their hands down there with the little children. And the conductor said to me, just sing, just sing. And I said, well, what do you want me to sing? And one of the guests, I think it was Lucy's nan, that was with one of us, she said, we've got to sing Oh When the Saints. So we started to sing Oh When the Saints Go Marching In. And well, all the K2s and the REM pods just went off, as in one big bloop, 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 bloop. They loved it. The children loved it. But up in the top corner, there was a darker sort of energy sitting there, but he didn't like the children. But I couldn't quite get what he was. I didn't quite know what he was and what he did. And it was almost like along the lines of he could have been, I don't know what you would have called the owner of, or the person who made the decisions in that, a director or a whatever. I don't know what you would call a workhouse lead, so to speak. And
but if it was a chapel, it would have probably been a priest, though, wouldn't it, or a father?
No, it wasn't. It was. You know what it felt like to me? It felt like what was happening was like an air raid.
Right. Okay.
They were bringing all the children together. It just felt like it was just telling me to like get the children, get them all in here, make a call out, get the children, let them in. And he was so happy that he was letting the children in. So I'd be very interested to see if there was a local stray bullet or a stray bomb around that sort of area. Obviously, being on the like not too far from the coast, it wouldn't have been too far. I don't know what it would have been used in the military side of things, if it was another story, but that's what it felt like. I couldn't get the exact answer to why the children were in there, as all I just was told by the gentleman is just get the children there. I
think it was working till quite recently. I'm not. Maybe the 1970s. I'm sure.
It was Workhouse.
Yeah, it was a workhouse, but it's an old people's home or something like that. It was working there as a. It was still. It didn't ever stop working.
No, it was about the 70s.
I'm sure. Back. Yeah, I'm sure they said the 70s, 1970s, but I could be wrong.
But yeah, and we had a couple of the guests were feeling doctor presence one of our guests got really heavily sort of taken over, couldn't suppress the doctor's evidence. We went into the shop or the bar sort of area, and everybody just got the fit of giggles. All the men got the giggles, but the women were hated. Whatever was going on in that shop sort of area, very much there. And in the school area, there was Andy was picking up sort of he was, I think he was saying something along the lines, this is not where the school was. This is not the original bit where the school was, but he felt the desk at the front was an original piece of kit. And he was getting very, very animated with the children that wouldn't pipe down, but he was strict. It was a real strict, like stern thing. But he was saying, I believe Andy felt that he was saying something along the lines of, this is in the wrong place. This is not where it needs to be. But yeah, the first session for us was it was really quite, what's the word?
Sounds full on.
But it was different, Paul. It was different in a different way, is because what I got in the chapel and the surrounding areas wasn't nasty. I say, I suppose you could say the shop, I felt, obviously, because there was the women shouldn't have been there. You could feel there, but being a man in that situation, I was quite light. Even in the school bit, it was only a strict teacher, a real strict teacher, which I'm assuming would have been back in the day like it. But in the chapel, I can safely say that there wasn't a bit of negative that I could pick. I couldn't say to you that there was a grumpy spirit in the corner. If you walked in, Simon, in the door, if you looked up to it, it would have been at the back on your right-hand side. But other than that, and that's what I'm saying, I never got, very rarely, there's always, okay, look, when we look at it back, of course it's a sad story, because I feel like somewhere within the local area here, a lot of children died. A lot of children died because there was a lot of children coming in at once. I'm not talking here about 5 or 6 children. I think there was at least 20 to 25 children, maybe more, in that room at once, that was affecting people's hands, their legs, the K2s. And you could, the kids were loving it. The REM pods were going ding, ding, ding. The motion bell, the kids were setting the motion bell off every second as they were coming in through that door. It was just a really light feel. And yeah, I couldn't find any negative in that first session.
No,
as in not saying normal, because that's not what it is about. But you always sort of get that person, someone was killed, or someone was hung there, or
we didn't. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a place like that.
No,
I don't think. I mean, I think there was a lot of stories to be told. I think we're going to have to go back. Absolutely, would love to go back. And I wouldn't mind doing it during the day, actually. I wouldn't mind paying to go around it as a museum. I don't know, because I'm going up there that way in April. So
beauty, and I say they do beautiful sausage rolls and jacket potato in the cafe during the day. It's a proper little restaurant, and it's lovely.
I might do that. But I might not get away with it. But I can try.
So,
But who had the torch thrown at the hands? Was that your group? Was that Maz's? It might have been Maz because they took a picture. They got a video of it actually being thrown. It was quite
yeah,
good.
I say that we have the video somewhere.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have the video.
Torch
But your group, Maz, if you're still there.
Sorry, Paul.
A torch what got thrown out of somebody's hand.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And you see it go as well. It's not like somebody throwing it. You could see it out her hand.
Wow.
But it might have been Maz's group and Sandra's group. I'm pretty sure.
I will see if we can get the footage.
A lot of people got a lot of photos in that there. It was that sort of place. You know, when you get a place that will give it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
This was that type of place. But
Yes, I've got the footage. I have the footage. Hold on, bear with me. So keep talking for a minute, guys.
you know what? When we went to our second group where Russ was, when I go on to that bit, it was absolute carnage. Carnage.
As in really active, or you had a completely different experience to what Russ did.
Completely different.
Yeah. And it's strange how that works.
Yeah.
It's got to have something to do with the energies you take into the room as well. Either bring certain energies forward.
Yeah. I think we had a couple of cross references through the groups. I think there was a couple. But yeah, we had but cracking event. And the thing was, when we went there, when the guests come in, and it wasn't nobody pushing them in, you had one side when it sort of went regulars, and the other side were all newbies. It was really crazy the way that happened. It was lovely the way it happened. But we didn't force that. We just
No.
It just felt like your wedding, you know, where you get
Yeah.
Right. We're going to play the video. I don't quite know how it's going to work, but we'll go with it. All right, guys?
Nice you go. Let's go.
You're right.
You're right.
They just come out your hand.
So then you got the she's angry.
That's really interesting because you're videoing it, aren't you?
Did you get
Or,
that?
Yeah.
You did go to the left.
Yeah.
I'll play it again.
Yeah,
Okay?
please.
And it happens pretty much instantaneous. Do you know what I mean? So as soon as the lady steps behind, are you ready?
Nice you go. Let's go.
You're right.
You're right.
They just come out your hand.
So then you got the
she's
other one.
angry.
You went across.
That's really interesting because you're videoing it, aren't you?
Did you get
Or,
that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't quite know if you could, you know, when you squeeze something together. I don't know if that's a lot of effort to do that with three fingers.
No, that was the first thing that ran through my hand, my head. That's why I wanted to see it again, but it doesn't look like that because
the same thing happened with an EMF in our, I think it was our third group.
So if you squeeze anyway, it would go straight up. It wouldn't fly off.
No.
One last look.
Yeah, go on then. Go on.
Nice you go. Let's go.
you're right.
You're right.
They just come out your hand.
So then you got the other
she's
one.
angry.
You went across.
That's really interesting because you're videoing it, aren't you?
Nah, I don't think that's a squeeze. That would take one hell of a squeeze to fly off like that.
Yeah. I say I'm pretty much. Joe believes it could be a squeeze effect.
Of course he does.
No, but yeah, I say it could be, but I say I haven't got a torch on me to sort of. I just don't know if I could get that to go. Yeah, I could.
But it might have shocked her, Joe. It might have, don't know. Jury's out.
Yeah.
She would have said more, potentially. It doesn't look to me like that's a squeeze. It doesn't, but...
And she looked pretty surprised about it. I mean, if she squeezed it...
That's why she didn't say anything, because
she would have felt... And she, oh, sorry, that was me.
Especially if it's a newbie. They were newbies, I think. Especially if it's a newbie and that's happening to her in an event.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, could have been, Joe. Could have been.
You never know. Right, so let's head over to your second group, Simon.
The chapel. Whew. So, we all went into the chapel and we sort of sat where the pews were. Jay took some guests up to the back of the chapel and was working with a temperature gauge. And first of all, we had the motion sensor, ding. We were asking things to step forward, ding. We did have the rope REM pod go off once, so that could have been children. But then what happened after that was, I can't really explain what happened after that, but I could see Claire, one of our guests, sort of going vacant. Now, Claire's well known for it, but you could see something could come into her. But then also one of the other guests called Jilly, it started to happen to her, and I'm thinking, what's happened? But then Jay sort of done his little laugh, as he does, because I think he's letting people through, or they're coming down. And then a younger girl started to get taken over, and I thought, oh God. And it sort of really started to turn into carnage. And then Claire and Jilly were sort of teaming up, and they were saying, Jilly's daughter, Joe, yeah. And they were sort of saying, shut her up, shut her up. And I'm saying to them, shut her up the end there, up the end there. She's getting on my nerves, she's getting on my nerves. And it just wasn't them, because Jilly certainly isn't like that. And then it was, I'm going to effing kill her in a minute. And I'm thinking, holy crap. Holy crap. So anyway, I thought, right, I'm going to get... Claire was doing her normal stuff and just walking up and down. So I thought, right, I'm going to get Jilly out of the situation because she'd sort of gone. And I took her out the chapel. Joe and Jay run the groups in there. So I took her out the chapel, come down and said, right, Jilly, you've got to come back to me. So we got her coming back to me. And I said, who was it, Jilly? And she said, and I said, he's definitely gone. Got an address, got everything. Definitely gone. And I said, well, who was it? Father Dominic. That's what we got, Father Dominic. But let her go back in there. Within 10 minutes, something else jumped in her. So I think, God, what are we going to do? And then Jay comes tumbling down, comes jaunting down the church. I want a boogie, he went. And he's dancing. He's dancing in the middle of the aisles. And this girl went, oh, I fancy a boogie as well. So them two are dancing, and there's carnage all going around. And we sort of got on with it. And then I called Russ. I said, Russ, we can't control it. Because I said to Lisa, can you take this group out? So they went to the schoolhouse. I didn't even get to investigate the schoolhouse. I didn't get into the schoolhouse. So Lisa took them up the schoolhouse. But as we were going up to the schoolhouse and trying to walk them out, they were walking out and they wanted to kill them. They were following up to get in there to kill them. For what reason, I don't know. We had Jilly, one of the guests, Russ come over. She was sitting down in puddles. You wouldn't do that in your right mind, would you? On a wet night. And her daughter come over and said, Mum, what's your address? And she hit her. And So we're trying to calm it down. It took, I think, 3 of us to hold Claire back. Really, really. Well, I can't say it wasn't an awesome session, because it was. It was a fantastic session. But it just shows you that Father don't. I don't know as if they were negative, but they just didn't like what was going on.
But as in what as when I say I asked the question, what do you mean they don't like? What was that? The laughter was that?
Didn't like the temperature being dropped.
Well, that's interesting, though, isn't it?
Because Jay got the temperature drop at that end by, I think, 7 degrees.
Wow.
And because they were saying, spirit, make the temperature drop, and you could hear their voices, and that's what they were getting annoyed with. No, mischievous, yeah, probably, but I don't know.
It didn't. I must admit, when I got round there, I didn't feel anything that would have worried me at that point. The only thing that did concern me, obviously, where the radio message come through, and where would I have been at that time? I was in the laundry. We was in the laundry area.
Yeah.
And I can't really remember what was going on, to be fair. Bit of table tipping, bit of movement, things like that. But as I walked through, like I run through the museum to get to you, because I was at probably the furthest point away from the chapel I could have been was there. So I thought I'd get me skates on and go. And as I run through, it wasn't the only thing that was affecting at that time, because Sandra had 2 people on the floor was dealing with at that time as well. So
from your group or
no, her own group.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And I said, Sandra, are you okay? She went, yeah, we're just bringing them back now. They're okay. They're coming back slowly. So something had got, I would say it's either got sort of from, it never made it as far as our group.
Mm.
The wave that was coming through never made it as far as what I would say to our group. But yeah, when it, so when we was there, sorry, my phone's going ding-a-ling-a-ling. So when I was running through, it sort of stopped me at the door. Whatever it was, it stopped me at the door, and it was like, oh, okay, there's something here. But I got through the door, and when I got to them, I was literally, Joe's already put that, Jilly was just about to sit down on the in a puddle.
She sat down because she had
but just as I was, but she held the pole, and just as I got to her, I said, "Don't let her sit down," and she just sat down on the puddle. Like, you're going to get a wet ass now, and it was soaking. It was pissing down the rain. But yeah, what was there? It was quite. It didn't. I won't say it held. It didn't really hold on to the energies. We brought Claire back pretty quickly, but it did take her to be out of the situation. Yeah. Now with Claire, it's very hard. She's very hard to deal with if she's in the same area.
Yes.
That you are controlling. It is easier to get her out of the situation and then control her. But yeah, it was quite intense, because I don't know who it was that radioed me. I think it was Joe who radioed me. I don't think it was Jay, and I don't think it was you that radioed me. I think it was Joe. Yeah. And he radioed me and he said, "Russ, we need you." And it was a bit of, more of a concern, because I'm thinking at this moment in time, why isn't Simon or Jay using the radio?
Yeah, one in green.
That's what my first thing was.
Panic setting.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're going into.
No.
That, honestly, and then you ask the questions. They just said, "No, take your time. It was fine." You was ironing your shirt when I asked for help. Yes, but we was in the laundry area for our second group, and it was quite subdued. We didn't have quite what was going on in the first, but it's what we did have is the big doors opening to command and closing to command, to the point that you heard the latch lift up. So like the old, like there was a big old latch on it.
Yeah.
And we shut the door, and you'd say, "Go then, open it," and it'd go and open the door. Shut it, and it would shut the door. It would do it on command.
That's cracking.
I to be fair, out of all the places that I did probably get a little bit of sense of nastiness was in the laundry, and I do feel there was an energy there, female energy, that controlled that sort of area of like she wouldn't let the girls talk. She didn't let us talk, and one of the girls tried to talk, and it's all it felt she wanted. She said it was like she poisoned her, or she used something against her, and I don't know if it was sort of like what they would have used to wash, like a caustic soda, or I don't know what was back then, but that's what it felt like. A very abrasive, didn't kill. I don't think it killed, but it was a real harsh punishment.
Yeah.
And that's what we were sort of getting at that moment. It was that sort of, and it felt like they were trying to escape, and she was shutting the door. No, that's all I could say. But it did. I don't think she murdered them. I don't think she killed them. She just really mistreated them.
Yeah, they would be. Back in those days, they would, though, wouldn't they? They'd just be authority. It'd be.
It was known for it, wasn't it?
Children were seen, not heard, back in those days. Definitely.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was. It is. It was.
But I don't find they were children. I wouldn't say. I would say they were probably 16 to 21.
Oh wow.
They were. I don't think they. Obviously, they wasn't. It's a workhouse. That's what they were there for.
Yeah, but as that spirit said, that Teddy, he was there for 15 years.
Yeah.
They probably went in at 4 and come out at 19. They knew no different. That was their life.
Yeah, just didn't.
Very harsh. He said it was very cruel and harsh. That was spirit.
Yeah.
It was cruel. It was harsh. It was horrible.
Yeah, there was nothing really that you say the door opening and closing. I say there's nothing there really to get excited about. Out of the whole context of the whole conversation, a door opening and closing on command, and you hear the latch lifting up. It's a one in a lifetime experience that you've just had, but it doesn't sound like I've had any activity, but we did. Yeah, and I don't know what they got in the cottage because obviously I was with you.
Yeah, as I said, I don't know what Lisa got in. I can't tell you what Lisa got in the school because I didn't get to school.
But you did. I was with you in the shop.
Yes, we got bits there.
There was a clear tapping or banging.
Yeah,
of some form.
And I think if we'd have had longer, we were going to get them things moving on the shelf from the shop.
Well, that one of the blokes was filming it, but nothing. I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything move, but
yeah, I didn't.
I think you could have done.
Yeah,
but probably what all that lot had just come through was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was.
That was second session, though. That was second session.
Yeah.
Right. Third session. Yeah, we cut it short due to break.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I think we had to. I think our time was up at that point. We spent a lot of time, if you think about it, in that chapel and getting people right before we moved on to anywhere. But yeah, that shop could have been. That's why I want to go back. The shop. I didn't get to do the shop for very long. I didn't get to do the school, and I would have liked to. So, yeah, no doubt we'll be back one day.
Right, your third session.
Third session was the laundry, and we weren't getting much in one area with the table tipping, so we moved it. And my God, it then decided to go. We had a really good table tipping session, and I think somebody recorded it. I can't remember who recorded it, but we had there was only about 4 people on it, and it went towards the door. And I think we got a story of a boy being scalded there, being burned, and he took us to where it happened. So that was a really good table tipping session. And that probably lasted quite a long time. But then we went on to do, the old people's home bit, where they said it was three parts, and would have been 4 people's old home. That's where they would have lived. And Lisa did a spirit board, and I think they were getting some results out there. And then Jade did some scrying in a mirror. And it was absolutely, well, I think Joe pulled back because he didn't like what he saw. And then one of the women did it, and John did it. John actually did it, and you could see his face changing. And Joe was asking him to look into his eyes and look at him coming back. Really good scrying session. And we obviously got the red torch, which helped as well. Yeah, we did need Paul there with his camera.
I recorded 15.
Oh, good. It's Joe then.
Send me that. That'd be great for our socials, Joe. If you can send that via a WeF transfer or something like that, that'd be great for our socials. Cheers, matey.
So yeah, it was a really good. For last sessions, where they're usually a bit flat, or can be a little bit.
Yeah.
This wasn't. This was a good final session. Very good final session.
We was in the boardroom. I never made the museum. We spent a lot of the time in the boardroom, and we was getting the voice box, the spirit box, the communication was very, very clear, talking and understanding what they were saying, names. But we went back to quite a long when it was. I don't feel it was quite what it was. I don't quite know where it fitted in timeline. Okay, but I don't feel that the what we were getting was necessarily to do with the workhouse. We almost felt like that this was to do with either an outside something. It was almost like a meeting room for the locals, and there was something to do with land. There was something to do with land, and it felt like there was two families or two people, whatever you want to say, that was in question with the land. Cheers, Joe. Thank you. So it's all sitting around this boardroom, and where you obviously you could walk straight through it, couldn't you? You could walk straight through the boardroom in one door and out back into the museum.
Yeah.
So the one that led to in from the main museum out until sort of the courtyard bit. So there was sort of some setup there, and I do feel like it was very Masonic. It was like an old Masonic thing. And it almost felt like they was all led there, and it was just this gentleman just walked in, and just slit two people's throat, all knowing what they did. It wasn't a thing, but there was law in the corner. So you had what he was calling himself a sheriff, so of old time. So we knew he was a sheriff, and is what he said is one of the gentlemen said they've belittled me, they've insulted me, and I couldn't sense what he was saying. They've insulted me, and we went out into, where all the, what would you call them, the caravans or the trailer bit was?
The carriages.
The carriages, yeah. It was outside the front of that.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't have been there because the windows in the actual boardroom would have led out onto grass. So the carriagey bit, the museum bit, would have been it felt very modern, very recent. And we went outside and we stood where that second door was, and it went down an alleyway, didn't it? Sort of out into the carriage room. And just as you got out to that door, one of the machines went, "I'm here." And I'm like, okay, what do you mean I'm here? And one of the guests, there was a gentleman with, I don't know his name, so I do have to apologize. And he was he was saying, I feel it wasn't necessarily, when he's insulted him, they've buried him on the footpath. They haven't just buried him somewhere within the grounds. They've buried him on the footpath. So everybody that walked out the door was walking over his grave. It was a real insulting thing what they did to this energy. And it was something to do with the land, but I don't know if it didn't feel like it was land to do with Gressenhall. It felt like it was it felt like this was like used as like a common ground. It was used for this party to get together, and they spoke about what they wanted to happen to be able to balance how it worked and what the things. But it was a complete and utter trap. And as it was led in there within about 15 minutes of this meeting going ahead, and I mean, one of the energies in there was vile, because he was using on the spirit box, he was using words that obviously that would get you barred from Facebook. We're talking about the C word, we're talking about everything. And it was really aggressive at something in that room. And all of a sudden,
and that was coming through the spirit box.
Yeah. Oh. You could hear it, because the lady with the torch and everything like that, she went, "Oh my God, did it just say that word?" And I said, "Yeah, it did just say that word." And she went, "Oh," and it said something up, "And you can shut up." And it was like, "Are you talking to me?" "Yes." And it said that word again after it. And she went, "Are you calling me that word?" And it went, "Yes."
Wow.
It was like, well, okay, we're getting something here. And people were sitting there, and there was two leather-backed, high-backed chairs, wasn't there, in the corner?
Yeah. And Jackie was in one of those as well, so she got. That's where she was not taken over, but felt like she was watching it all.
But they were getting very just allowing it to happen. Whatever was in that corner was allowing it to happen. And the one that was close, so the one that was furthest from the door, that leather back seat, was the one that had this authoritative figure in there. And he said he called himself a sheriff. He had some form of ability to be an absolute arse. But he let whoever did it get away with it. And that was, that was
back in the day.
Yeah. But yeah, that was sort of my my end session. To be fair, that was
it was quite an amazing night actually. When you think back at it, and as I say, perhaps we are too critical. Sometimes if you get in a door, as you say, a door opening and shutting, you think it's nothing, but it is something. It's perhaps we are too expectant of things. If you get what I mean.
I'm going to I'm going to throw it sort of back to the same sort of scenario, and where we say we're not. I think this is what has changed. But Paul, was you with us at Shrewsbury Prison?
Yes.
Yes. So everybody that walked out Shrewsbury Prison, team leaders, found it a very flat night on the night. Okay,
Yeah.
Hear me out. And we sort of shared it to sort of, well, it weren't as good as this and it wasn't as good as that. It was only sort of a week later when sort of Paul sort of put the sort of started to watch the video back, and we all started talking via WhatsApp and sort of started putting it out there of this is what happened. This is what happened. And when you look at the evidence that we got at Shrewsbury, it was quite second to none. But it wasn't until a week later we start to talk about it to each other via the group. Did you hear that?
No.
Well, that was a weird sound. That was a very weird sound.
But no, I remember that. I remember coming out of Shrewsbury, and we, like you say, we was comparing it to Shepton Mallet and things like that. And when I think back of Shrewsbury now, I think of it as one of the most active nights. I love that place.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I generally totally agree. And that's where I think, and with what we've changed over the last couple of events for us, like the last year going into this year, at the end of the night, we are trying to do sort of a debrief with all the like what went on, what did you feel, how did you feel, what did you get, you know, to try and get a sense of how it worked. And I think this is prime example of EGH evolving. Is I think if we did this event 3 years ago, I think we would have walked out of that event and said it was as flat as hell, apart from one session. But because you've sort of growing with your sense and you're growing with your look, spirit can't do everything that we ask. Of course, Simon, we would love in that shop that the things to fly off the shelf.
Every time you ask it to do something, it does it. Yeah.
But that that one bit of evidence could take us 50 years to get in the context of this, you know, and we're 25 years into Essex Ghost, 26 years into Essex Ghost Hunters here, you know, and we're still looking for that bit of evidence that is like draw dropping, you know, and that's what you think. If you look at it back and you think, you know what, Simon's right.
We've already had it.
Yeah, we've had great evidence.
10 times
doors opening to command. Do you know what I mean? What more do I want? Okay, that's the only thing that potentially happened within an hour and a half. And you think, oh, did they enjoy it? Don't know. But it's ghost hunting. And you have to be, do you know? And I think this was one of them events for me that is, it was good. It was good because of the evidence that we can back it up with for people and us is like, but take it back 3 years ago, probably when we did Shrewsbury and that, and we would have walked out there. I think we would have walked out there and gone, don't we, you know, but you become different. You know, we are not to say that we've done anything wrong, but it's becoming a realization that what we are getting is evidence good.
Yeah, well, I think also as we watch, where you're watching other groups as well and other people to what they're getting, and then you look back at it and think, well, hold on, what did we had amazing results. And I think that does it as well. And I think the more you go on as a team, obviously the more you grow, the more spiritual it gets. So I do think that.
I think the longer you do it as well, you always going in there looking for the wow factor. And I've noticed this even I mean, I haven't been doing it as long as you guys, but I've caught myself out doing this when I remember when you started, and the slightest little things, I'm like, wow, wow, wow. But now the
It's
slightest thing could happen, which is evidence.
It's
I could
become
just walk
norm.
straight past it and go, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, that was a noise. Anyway, we'll you know, whereas it's all evidence, but you're constantly waiting for that big wow factor, that big moment.
But it's an addiction.
Yeah.
This is an addiction.
Yeah.
It's no different to chasing the dragon. It's that next fix. The little things that we start off with are not cutting it anymore. We want to say, like Simon, he said, like no, you know, I wanted them things to come off the shelf.
Yeah.
That's your next fix, if that makes sense. I don't, you know,
Yeah,
I know I'm
100%.
lowering the tone with drugs, but still, that's what it feels like. You know, it feels like that is ticking it is ticking. It's ticking. It's like, right, come on, because you're sensing that. I think we all sense it and know that something is there. It's getting it to react to it
and show the guests that it's there.
Yeah,
I think that's another hard part of it, because I can tell it's there, you can tell it's there,
yeah.
most of the team can tell it's there. The guests might not know it's there, but when it shows the guests it's there, then you've done your job, and that's what we don't appreciate. That might be somebody getting touched, somebody getting pushed, and that's a lot for spirit to do. But we're asking spirit to do that to the guests. They do it, but how many times do you say thank you, spirit, for doing that? I do actually. I actually do it. Thank you, spirit, but not all the time.
Yeah. I bet the guests, you know, especially newbies, I bet they come away thinking they got a hell of a lot more than what you think you got that night.
Yeah.
You know, the regulars that turn up at every event almost, they're probably a lot like yourselves anyway. You know, they've experienced that and they've done that. I'm not saying they don't get the appreciation out of the little things, but the more, like you say, the longer and more you do it, I think it's not dismissed as such, but it's not as exciting, the little things.
We begin to expect it, I think.
Yeah, whereas like newbies who have only done it a few times, they're probably going home thinking, "What a night!"
Yeah, and I would probably say that over half the guests were some form of new.
Yeah.
I would say there was more probably new than there was of old at this event.
I think so.
Right on the cusp. It was right on the cusp. It was probably like a 60-50 split or something along them, but it was very close to normal. It was something that we haven't dealt with for a long time. But say it does. Joe's asking a question, Simon. Did you pick up on a fire?
Did anyone pick up in the fire? What fire? What fire, Joe? What fire?
On the fire.
Pick up in the fire.
I'm sure it's supposed to pick up on the fire.
I don't.
Yeah, send it through and we'll answer that question. But now we're on sort of debriefing ourselves on that. Now, it leads me to a question. Okay. It leads me to a question, like what Simon was saying there about the guests, showing the guests, doing this, do that. You know, we know it's there and we know it's getting that reaction. Okay. So what's the question I want to ask? I don't quite know how I want to ask it. One of the inmates set fire to the workhouse. I don't think anyone picked that up, Joe. I didn't hear of any fires in my group.
What group was it in, Joe? What group did we pick that up in?
But I don't think he's asking you. I don't think he's asking you. I think he's saying, did anyone pick up a fire on a fire?
Okay. I can't remember it.
So I didn't pick up on any fires, and I didn't hear of any stories on that night of fires within any of the groups. It definitely never happened within my group. It may have happened within Sandra's group, but we can speak to Sandra and see if she did at any point, and see, go from there and let you know, Joe. Okay. My point being, okay, we do events, yeah, and you've got everything going on in your head. You've got the spirit coming in. You've got this coming in, right? Now, yeah, he was talking about other groups, right? When we do team nights, okay, is the activity, physical activity, going to be less and then an event night? What I'm saying is, when we do team nights, you've got 15 guys there, 15 people who can connect to spirit and get emotion, feeling, know something. Okay. Surely they don't need to push more boundaries on a team night than they would do on an event night. Because for us, when we're in, when we went to Time and Envy,
yeah,
we went there, there was not much activity with sound, hearing, tapping, this, that, and the other. Is it because we are all communicating that they don't need to do that?
Yeah.
You know, like,
you're getting that there, yeah.
could you tap 3 times for a yes? Right? But we know it in our head, it's a yes. So why would spirit need to do that? That's my question.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to do it.
Before you answer, got messages, just messages coming in. Okay. Hiya, I think it was a good night. We had good stuff in the chapel, shop, and schoolhouse that was pretty good. For me, the door in the shop had the latch go up and open twice, was pretty cool.
Good.
Whose group was you in? Whose group was you in there? I don't know your name. I don't know how you would say that. CCD? CCD? Am I saying that right? You reckon? CCD? Yeah, whose group was you in on that one? Because the door was my group. I don't know if it's happened in another group, so it might have been in Sandra's group. Spirit want to show newbies there's something tangible out there where team members already know. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
but don't you think as well with team members, even though you're communicating and you can feel a yes, you can feel a no, you still want to get that clarification so your other team members can get what you're getting. I know you might not push for the noise and the taps as much, but you still do it. You still ask.
It's Tina.
So Tina.
Hi, Tina.
Did you have a guest Tina though?
No, I don't think it was. I think that's Tina. I think that's our Tina. I know it's we had Tina Monroe as well.
We did have Tina. We did have a Tina.
2 Tinas.
Yeah.
So Tina, are you team member Tina or guest Tina? That's what we would like to know. But sorry, Paul. So, sorry, Paul. Go again. I know what you were saying about trying to get. No. There's Tina Monroe.
Yeah, but is that?
No, that's Facebook. That's Facebook, Tina.
Right.
And I think this is Team Tina. So I think we've got Tina Monroe on Facebook, which I do believe your Tina, our Tina, yeah. So team member Tina is on YouTube because it's got the
Now that is confusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come on.
and Tina is on there. I heard my name. Tina is the one that sent us the torch of the ladies coming out of her hand. This lady here witnessed the torch coming out of the lady's hand, which will be going on our socials tomorrow.
Yeah, great bit of footage.
Yeah, really good bit of footage there. So yeah, I get what Paul is saying, what he was saying there about sort of we want our other team members to
You just want a clarification.
we're getting, but I still think I still feel at that point, if you're telling me, Paul, what you're telling me, I'm trusting you. I don't need, in my head, I'm not putting that out there that I need 3 taps for yes to clarify it. My intention.
No, it's I totally get what you're saying there. With the team together, it's a trust thing. You know what they're getting is what they're getting. So you don't need to prove. Oh no, 100%.
My question, my whole question being is that do you think we get less physical activity on team nights than we do? And I'm saying when I'm saying physical, we're hearing the taps, we're hearing footsteps. When we're together on team nights, we get great information. We get the real depths of the story because we're all putting that energy solely into one thing. Like, for example, when we was at Wisbech Castle and we was all in that lodge, Simon was on point with telling us a story, what he was getting, but we wasn't necessarily getting it backed up with any evidence regarding the noises or sounds. But the physical, the what would you just say, the word, the evidence of words overpowers the EMF going off. Don't get me wrong.
If you get what I mean, if we're saying their name, they haven't got. If we were with a group, if we were with a team, we'd say, "Is your name John?" Not twice. We ain't got to do that because we're telling it it's John.
Yeah, but that's what my point being. My point being is on team nights. On team nights, we get less physical evidence than we do on event nights. But when we're on team nights, we get more
story evidence.
Yeah.
Is that a way of putting it?
Yeah.
I think we just react to it differently because we go into hive mind.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
So for the benefit of the not argument, because we're not arguing, because I think we're all agreeing by the sound of it, is that how do we change that? How can we
change it? Change it?
But then do we say maybe, for example, my way of thinking, on team nights that half work, half don't for one session and shut down? No, I'm not listening to anything. I'm not listening. I want evidence. I'm going to, but I'm not listening to you. And what is it? Sort of not, I don't want to say antagonize spirit because that's not what I want to say, but maybe setting sort of like, say if me, Simon, Paul, Sandra, Tina, Lisa are all working. Yeah. So we split that down the middle. Us 3 work, the other 3 don't. Yeah. But their job is to say, well, prove that to us. Not antagonizing spirit, but ask the questions that spirit, show us spirit. Look, we understand that you're telling us that, but I'm not quite sure that you're telling me the story right here. So we set people aside to ask the questions against us. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah.
Forcing someone's hand. So, like, when we're on a live, yeah, and we're filming Simon, and he's telling me this, and he's telling me that, and he's telling me this. But then I go into a mode of saying to Simon, what is the date? Give me their second name. And Simon will go, oh, hang on a minute. Let me just think about it. When we don't let him move forward, and like, I'm quite anal when it comes to that. I don't let him move forward until we've got that bit of evidence that we can back it up with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, maybe that time around is that we go along the lines of, okay, look, Simon has given this second name of John. Spirit, can you confirm this? Make a footstep, make a noise, and make it. We've got to. I don't know. I just feel that, not to say it's a
I know
bad.
what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm not.
Well,
Please don't think I'm saying it's a bad thing in any way.
Well, it's worth a try, isn't it? Anything new is worth a try.
I think we need to set up when we do team nights like event nights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
because I think we're all open to it. It just, Spirit can just work quite easily, and we're not testing them against us. Don't mean that nastily to Spirit. Please don't think I'm offending you. But when you've got, a room of 12 spiritually connected people, or you're going to do less work than you've got 4 spiritual connected people and 10 guests that, may not believe in it, they're going to have to work harder. We're giving them an easy ride. Right. Let's just go to some questions. I'm going to go back to guest Tina in a minute. I think it's easier for them to communicate with team, as we don't normally ask for physical evidence, as so it does not make as much energy to make it. That's what we were sort of getting to, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Guest Tina was talking in the room with the crib with a pendulum, and my torch was on the shelf, flashing yes and no's instead before it decided to fly off the shelf. Was perfectly fine torch. Everywhere else, no flickers or flashes other than that moment.
So that's spirit able to affect equipment.
What was the room with the crib in?
Did you not have it? That was in where the old people's bit was. It was, it was. It was a crib at the back with a doll in it. And Jay brought the doll out and said, I live here.
I don't remember the crib. Would that have been, was that the cottage?
Yes.
Well, I never got to do the cottage, unfortunately. I was with you at that point. So Team Tina did the cottage. The little cottage. So the cottage. So that must have been, was you with Simon, guest Tina, at that was flicking?
No, she was with Sandra. I don't remember a torch flicking with us, but may have done.
It wouldn't have flicked with me because I wasn't in the cottage, but it might have been Team Tina. God, that's
it might have been Team.
Like,
no, the ladies, yes.
No, the ladies. So it would have been with
Sandra, Maz, and Tina. Yeah.
No. Sandra, Maz, and Mike. Tina was with me.
Well, I've never called Mike a lady, have I?
Oh, you did. Maybe new experiments and methods such as storytelling, tarot stuff we did at Time and Envy. Yeah. I just think we've got to. Sorry, I forgot the name with the long hair.
That's Maz.
Yeah, that's Marianne or Mikey. Could be Mikey with the long hair as well. So, but he mentioned it. Mikey mentioned it.
Yeah. Yes.
So, So, that's just it. It's them things that you sort of want your footage for. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of little snippets that you want for your socials. Them little things, that little 10-minute clip is great. But Joe, I know Joe has sent me. I have received that file. Joe.
I think there's more out there, though. I do think there's more, but I can't remember who had them.
Yeah. But no, if you have got any footage, guys, that you want to send over to us, I think Tina did send me the video. I say the footage of was from Tina anyway, wasn't it? From the,
Yeah, but did you take the Tina? Did you get any of the flashing torch when the torch was flashing?
Evening, Scott. Nice to see you again. I haven't seen you for ages, man. Nice to have you on here, matey. Nice to have you on here. Yeah, hopefully they might have some footage of the torch flashing on and off. That would be really good. That would be really good if you have only that. But yeah, other than that, it was a really, really good evening.
What did surprise me, actually, at the end, we don't often get people asking for us to check them over. But I think a lot of people asked to be checked over when they left that Gressenhall. And it wasn't particularly an aggressive place, apart from that chapel bit. And I'd say 3 or 4 people got affected in that chapel bit, but it wasn't all the people. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of people asking for us to check them over, make sure they haven't got anything with them.
But you did say there was a lot of newbies there as well, so that had something to do with it.
Very much. I was going down that same line as well. But you know what? It was a very good night. It was an absolutely great event to start off our John needed checking over. John. We had I think Tia's group needed to be checked over. There was another 2 after that. So there was about 6-7 people that needed checking over.
John's been in the shop and he absolutely loved it and he's fine. So we have had a follow-up on that, Joe, as well. So he's been in the shop since.
I spoke to him the day after as well. So
yeah, he's really good.
He's absolutely fine. So
really loved it.
But yeah, it's rolling on to the next one, which I do believe is Thaxted. If you want
one again, isn't it?
Yeah, if you want to join us on an event, guys, please head over to www.essexghosthunters.co.uk to get your tickets. The next available event is the Old Library in Erith. Okay, Old Library Erith. So that would be the next available event for you to join us on, guys. The Old Library in Erith. Get over there and get your tickets tonight. Tina said, I asked you to double check my daughter.
Yeah.
One of the chaps wanted her, but couldn't have with her. Simon laugh out loud. A nice guy, very open indeed, very, very open, and very good at being open. You just need to control it. But no, thank you for everybody that has joined us tonight, guys. It has been a good show to talk about. I think Paul has quite enjoyed listening to our stories, haven't you, Paul?
I have. I'm gutted I missed it, to be fair. It sounded great.
But it's not. But it's also nice that you can listen to our stories as well.
Yeah,
it is, and you do go into good detail. So when you hear it, you kind of feel like you're there anyway.
The thing is, though, because you have to sort of remember that, don't you? You have to remember your storytelling. You have to remember them little details. I've got to find a way of recording the detail for that. Do you know what I mean? That's one thing I don't know ever to stick. I think it's not the fact I want the video footage. I want the stories. Yeah, and I don't want someone to walk around, I maybe like with a GoPro on them or something like that. And I just want the stories where, the names and things like that. That's what I need. I need the stories. Great show from Heidi. Scott C, you're going to Hagefort soon. It's an amazing place. Been there myself. Got a lot. We've been there loads and loads of times. Harwich Fault. Look forward to seeing you at the next one. Hiya, Joe. Right. I'm going to say goodbye because it's going to go on and on and on. If I don't. See you later, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Good night.